I did not mention that he took me for the ritual. He also said I should stop going to church.
You met a man who portrayed himself like a perfect gentleman.
Christian too.
And a Christian.
Serving in church.
4 months of being married to him.
Yeah.
You
discovered.
You discovered that he was smoking weed. Top of it all, he beat you.
Yeah. And then he pours libation. Libation is when you break cola nuts like this.
Give to the
in the sitting room. You pour the kai.
In Africa, there's an unwritten culture around the girl child in Africa that is in such a way that it is almost believed that a woman is a nobody until she's married.
That is the thing.
Such that amazing ladies who have invested so much into their lives hang around fools who now make them a shadow of themselves.
Exactly.
This could have been my exact story, or even worse, if God did not save me. I'm going to tell you how it happened, exactly how it happened. It happened in 2016. You see the problem, like this woman rightly mentioned, she said that it's very important that you know how God speaks to you, which is super, super important. And then another thing is not just believing anybody who comes to tell you that, oh, God said that you are my wife, or I am the perfect will of God for you. You should be able to hear God and get the convictions for yourself. 2 things will happen in this video. I'll be losing my hair while I tell you my story on how God delivered me from the hands of this man. I'm going to tell you his story. To even start with, you can't do life without God. Take it or leave it. I had several times thought of sharing this particular story, but on the other hand, I'd be like, let me just leave it. Finally, after listening to the story, Pastor Femi Lazarus, the woman he hosted on his YouTube channel, and where she shared her story, I just decided, okay, why not? Let me just go ahead to share my own story. Hopefully, finally, a young girl will learn this and be saved from this deception. I don't know how old she was when she met that man but mine was in 2016. In 2016, I think I was 24. Let me calculate it. 16. Okay, in 2016, I was 22 years old. And all of a sudden, one day, that was during my IT year. I remember I was working in Oko because I couldn't find a place to do my IT that year. So I found this place that I went to. This man, I used to do beans floor in school at the time. And then I was carrying this beans floor to different hostels, different offices. I believe if any of my classmates watches this video, or any of my fellowship members at the time watches this particular video, they'll be able to tell you about me. At that time, there was no kind of hustle. I didn't hustle in school. I did beans floor. I sold honey. I produced air freshener, liquid soap, perfumes, shampoo. I made hair. It was something I didn't do. So during my IT year, I was hoping that the Lord would actually, send me a good place for me to go and do my IT. But it didn't happen. Maybe because I didn't have connections or people that would have worked it for me. So I stayed back in Oko, where I finally got a job, a place where I worked at this shop where we produced handkerchiefs. I still have a particular story concerning that handkerchief. I never knew that the man who employed me to work for him at that handkerchief shop had an ulterior motive. This man had been watching me from my year 1 when I got to the university, when I got to school, till my IT year, which is like our 3rd year. You do your IT and then come back with HND. I never knew this man had been watching me, but he's not the center of the story today. So let me tell you my story that has to do with this woman's story. So in 2016, I was 22 years old, and I started doing my IT in this particular place. And all of a sudden, one day, somebody called me, and my parents actually called me, and they said, oh, someone came to our house and they were asking of you. So they collected your phone number, and the man, because he was like a well-respected man in my village, and he's, I don't know if it is his cousin or he's somebody who stays in Lagos, was looking for a wife. I'm not going to call his name anyways. He was looking for a wife. So, they asked questions, asking questions. That was how they got to our house. They landed in our house. They were looking for a good girl with good character. And that was how they landed in our house. And My parents told me that they came to collect my phone number, so I should speak with the guy. They're not asking me to accept him or anything. Although my parents knew my stand at the time, you don't match make me with men. I am not really a huge fan of matchmaking me with somebody. Even if you match make me, allow me to make my decisions, right? So he collected my number and then he called me. The first time he called me, he introduced himself. And I was like, okay, I was thought about to. Before he called me, that his particular uncle, who is an engineer, called me to introduce himself and tell me that, oh, he got my phone number from our place and he's sending it to his cousin or nephew or whoever. He actually was his relative, not his son. I said, okay, no problem, sir. Thank you, And this guy called me. He called me and he introduced himself. And then he told me that he really wants us to see, that he was going to come into town the next week from Lagos. He just want to come to see me, and then we can kickstart things up from there. I was like, okay, no problem. I wasn't really doing much in school at the time. I was like, we're going to see, since this person already went to our house, people knew about him, so we are going to see in an open place regardless. So finally on that day he came. Before he came, the only day he did not call me a different name was the day he called me to introduce himself. That very first day he called to introduce himself was the only day he did not call me a totally different name. This man would call me with 5, 6 different numbers. This man will call me every single day. It was from him that I saw what they call love bombing. I never knew what it was called. I had no clue this is love bombing. This man will call me. He calls me in the morning. He calls me his angel. He calls me 4 hours later, he calls me his darling. 3 hours later, his sweetheart. For Abba, this man is going to call me up to 5, 6, 7 times a day. And I'm not even joking. And this guy choked me with calls, would call me day. I couldn't even breathe. At a point, it started becoming irritating. I was like, this person you've not even met already, dying over her, you're already all over her, and the rest of that. He was telling me, oh, it was how much he loved me, that he has seen my picture. They told him that I was a good girl, and all of that and all of that. I was like, okay, finally, let's see. Because I was really getting tired of the insistent calls every time, the text messages. Come and see love and romantic text messages this man would send me. So finally, he came to Anambra State. I don't know what he came for. I can't even believe that he came for me. But before he came, I promise you, he has always portrayed himself as a believer. Because I asked him where he worshipped, he said he was an Anglican person, an Anglican member. I was like, okay, this guy would preach the word of God to me. Our conversation starts and ends with God. And I think this is why I made that particular video. I told ladies, I said, when he comes to you and asks you for your likes and dislikes, don't tell him, because he's going to go back to his drawing board and draw out a map, a plan that he would use, and it will work on you. Let me confirm that this thing is still recording. So we are still recording. Now he came. Yes, he came to Anambra. We met at Norisha. You should know Norisha in Oka. It's located at the Thames site. Yes, that's where it is. We met at Norisha. He asked me what I wanted to eat. I didn't really eat anything. I insisted I didn't want to eat anything. I just took water. He insisted I now took water. And then, that conversation started and ended with God. He told me how beautiful I was, how he liked me, how respectful I am, how I looked homely, how he's working out something in Lagos, how he works here. And at a point, I had to ask him, sir, like, why? I am really curious, because that was my first time ever having somebody who would call me 5, 6, 7, 8 times every single day without fail for over 2, 3 weeks, 1 month without fail. So I was asking him, like, what's up with all these different phone numbers you're using to call me? He said, oh, that he works at a radio station, I'd be wherever, that, oh, he has a lot of numbers. Okay, why do you call me different names? He said that it was the depth of how much he loved me. This guy loved me. And then one day something happened. He was actually the person, I made a post on Facebook. I said, I made a post on Facebook and I was like, a man said if I was going to give him 8 children, that he was going to make sure that I give birth to all of them in Canada. That was it. That was the way he portrayed it. I really want to have children, a lot of children. I was telling somebody I want 11 children. I really want a lot of children. So me having 8 children for him was not even a problem for me at all. My only problem with him was where he was coming from. He was trying to use that thing to to lure me, to entice me into that relationship. I don't know if you get what I meant. Guys, I was 22 at this time. Remember, I was 22 at that point. So he came, we saw, he continued love bombing me, telling me how much he really wants me, how much he wants to marry me, how quickly he wants this marriage to work. He was disturbing, this man was always disturbing me, that to the point where he didn't give me chance to breathe and actually pray. So I was asking him to give me some time. Let me breathe. Let me pray. Can you not just call me today, please? It got to that point. I was like, can you not just call me today? Like, try not to call me. But like, oh no, I can't live without you. I have to call you, please. Just let me call you. I'm like, okay, just call me once. It got to a point where I was begging him to call me once. He said, okay, no problem. And then this guy would keep calling me. And I told him, just give me time to pray so I can concentrate and pray about this whole situation. So the last time he asked me of it, I told him that honestly, I don't have convictions yet, but I'm still praying. But there's something I did. Very, very important thing I did was I told God, this guy seemed like a good person. To be honest with you, he have never hurt me. I've never done anything bad to me. Like all he was doing was love bombing me and showing me love and care. He was even the first guy who changed my cream. I was using Vaseline all my life, and he was the first person that said, "Oh no, you have a nice skin. I need to change your cream for you so that your skin will glow up like a rich man's wife that you're going to be." Oh, Jehovah, I've seen Shaggy Banzard. So, all of a sudden, he stopped calling. 24 hours, this man didn't call. I was like, oh God, let me even rest. Let me just breathe. Oh God, this man was even disturbing me. Let me breathe. 48 hours, this man didn't call. I was like, okay. I began to feel it like, well, anyways, let me just come and allow him. Whenever he's ready to call, he will just call. And let it not look as if I'm trying to, you know, show him that, okay, I was interested. 3 days, he didn't call. It was going to 1 week. I was like, is this man okay? That was what I thought. I didn't think, oh, is this man doing shakara? No. The first thing I thought was, is this man still alive? Like, is he okay? Because this was somebody that would call me every single day and still text me. Like, he would call me 5, 6, 7, 8 times every single day and still text me, is he okay? I just wanted to be sure that he's okay. So I said, okay, let me call him. I called him, he didn't pick. Like, I beg you, let him just book my rest. Anyways, the next day, he didn't return the call. I called again. I called 3 times, he didn't pick. My heart started skipping. I was like, I hope everything is okay, like with this man. Then I texted him. He didn't respond. I kept on, I became worried, genuinely worried. I kept on calling and calling and calling for over 2, 3 weeks. He wasn't picking. I said, okay. I texted him. At a point, I was like, okay, maybe this man has gotten angry and maybe I have disrespected him in any way. In my text messages, I was like, please, even if I've disrespected, just, and you don't want to talk to me anymore, it's completely okay. I understand, but just tell me what I did so that I wouldn't do that to another person. He never responded. Then one day, that man who connected us, who came to my father's house and took my phone number, that engineer called me and he was like, my daughter, how are you doing? I said, I'm fine, sir. So how is the wedding preparation going? I said, sir, there's no wedding. No, we're not preparing any wedding. The next thing this man said was, what did you do to him? You must have said something to him. You must have disrespected him. What did you do? Me, who is the prize? That you people are supposed to be pampering me, doing all it will take you to get me. You're not asking me the way this man, he showed a typical Igbo, a typical unrefined Igbo man who always see a woman as an object, is an object like someone that has to respect you, revere you. A man can never do wrong. I was like, sir, I didn't do anything. And I've been calling him, he has not been picking his calls. He said, you must have done something. Okay, call him now. Honestly, it was just out of respect. I was like, okay, sir, I am going to call him. He said, okay, wait, I should wait, that he would call him first. So he called him and then he called me back. The man called me back and said, okay, I should call him now. Call him now. I was like, okay, sir. Someone has not picked my call for over 1 month. This was over 1 month now. I said, okay, sir. So I went and I called him. He picked my call and said that he was going to call me back. I said, okay. And I waited. I waited. I honestly waited for that call and he did call back. When he called back, I picked the call And the first thing he said was, I said, Hello, sir." He said, "Just keep quiet and listen to me closely." I said, "Okay." There was a time prior to then, I had made a prayer to God. I said, "God, I don't want to hurt this man. I sincerely don't want to hurt him because he has not really done anything to hurt me. But if it is not your will, if this marriage is not your will," because this man was not giving me space to breathe or even think or really, really pray. I just told God, if this marriage is actually not your will, please, I don't want him to feel bad, but let this relationship die a natural death. That was the prayer I made. And I moved on with my life until that call happened. So when I picked it, I said, "Hello, good morning, sir." He said I should just keep quiet and listen to me. I said, "Okay." I kept quiet. He started. He said, "I have looked at you. You know, when I came to you, I really wanted to marry you. But on a second thought, I sat down and looked at you. I looked at your life, and I don't want you to wake up one day and say, 'Oh, honey, let's go to church.' And I'll be like, 'I'm not going to church.' And I do not want you to wake up one day and be like, 'Oh, honey, I'm going to church.' And I'll be like, 'You are not going to church. You will not go to church.' I told you that I was an Anglican member. This is what I tell everybody because of, we had a church background. But I'm a traditionalist. I don't go to church. I pour libation. I'm a traditionalist. Where I was answering that call, I knelt down, raised one of my hand because I was still on the call with the other hand. In my heart, I was like, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus." If not that I had a personal, there was this, I had this strong will. There are things you cannot force me to do. Before you get to the point of really coercing me, enticing me to get to doing that thing, it will take time. Even if I will later do it, it will take time. In my heart, I was like, "God, thank you." So he said, "After this call, please don't try to reach out to me. Don't try to reach me, and let this end now." I said, "Okay, thank you so much. God bless you." And that was how he ended the call. If I had not insisted that I really want to take time to pray about this whole thing, this man would have married me. And today, you and I will not be talking about the praying man. I won't be on social media talking about, I will be here giving birth to 8 children. And my life would not, I would not have a good life. I would have regrets upon regrets. Why? Because this is not the life I signed out for. This is not the life I had started living before I met him. I would have had a lot of regrets because I met a lot of good men. I would have missed out on babe, you know. But yeah, why I'm making this particular video is just to encourage young women to, even if someone comes and tell you that, "Oh, God told me that you're my wife," agree. But let God speak to me first. You go back to the place of prayer and actually pray that God should speak to you concerning this thing this person said. If someone comes and tell you that God spoke to me that this person, if someone comes and tell you that God spoke to me that Mr. X, Y, and Z is your husband, you respect them, thank them, but still go back to the place of prayer. Do not be, someone will come and tell you, "Oh, there are people who did recommendation. What about Ruth and Naomi? What about X, Y, and Z? What about Esther? What about this person and that person?" Says, if you do not have strong convictions, please do not do it, because at the end of the day, you're not the only person who's going to be in that. These people are not going to be with you in that marriage. You are the only person who's going to be there. And anybody who tries to matchmake you, just see that this person meant good for you. Thank them, but still open your eyes and be the one who will make the final decision. You notice what this woman said. She said she wasn't even really attracted to this man to even start with, but she went on. She can't even explain why she even went on with the entire relationship. So we all have to be really, really careful with people who come to tell you, "Oh, the Lord said," when the Lord did not say. God, there's no one who has monopoly of hearing God. God speaks to all of us if only we can listen to him. So this is my own part of the story. Just be careful when someone starts love bombing you. Girl, you're not the first person. You're not even the 50th person he has love bombed. Just be careful. And they look out for girls, fine girls with good genes. They look out for fine girls with good genes and girls who love the Lord, who would raise godly children for them. Some of them would deceive you to the point where they will lure you. You agree to get married to them, and it's after the marriage. They know you are a child of God and you're not going to leave him. They know what the Bible says about women submitting to their husband. They know that this thing have been ingrained in you and you won't leave him. You only have to succumb and keep praying. That's when you're going to open your own war zone, war room, and keep praying. So just be careful. and don't be deceived. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What's your own story? I would like to hear your own story. Bye.
As we wrap this up, what if there is any woman watching this now who is trapped in a deadly situation? And I mean marriage now.
My advice?
What's your advice?
You see, I have an issue with women who don't have their own money. Every woman should get her own money. You don't go into marriage with intention to come out. You don't go into marriage because in marriage, it is two, husband and wife become one. So it's the two against the world. But it becomes bad when it's the one against the other. And then the center will divide. If that man did not go fetish, if he was a Christian, if he wasn't hitting me, I'll still be in that marriage.
If those abuses were not there.
We are not there. I'll still be in that marriage. At the most, I'll take vacations, and come back, stuff like that, and trust God and keep praying till it gets better. Supposing I didn't have my own money,
that would be happening here.
There will be nowhere to go to, because most women are stuck in toxic marriages because one, and thank God I didn't have a child there. One, where would they go to? And then another problem I have with women is thinking of what people will say. Opinion is cheap. Every single individual is entitled to their opinion, but you are the one living the life. So you know what you're into. When his mom came to beg me to come back, there was something she said, that from the day I came into the son's life, that the peanuts he used to give her monthly as upkeep increased marginally, which means I influenced that. Now, it's not about you bringing your money or anything, because a family is built. But every woman, please get your own. That guy would have killed me within that 4 months. Yes, if I wasn't releasing my salary to him like he wanted, he would have killed me. Supposing I did not have salary to give him, he would have killed me, because the bitterness would have doubled. He would have killed me. Every woman should just get their money. And if you are in a fix and you know you cannot cope, because mental strength differs. If you cannot cope, you get out. Even if you don't pack your things like I did, please get up and get out. You can rent a room. You can start selling pepper or tomatoes. You get a life.
Start from somewhere.
You start from somewhere. That's my candid counsel for any woman who is in a toxic relationship.